No crowd.
There's two guests who come out.
We're going to do the reorg first, right, Colleen?
Yeah, we're doing the reorg first, right? Please, let me say anything at the time. Please take this time to put away all electronic devices on pulse, vibrate, or please turn them off. If you must answer a call, please take your call out of the meeting room. Thank you.
So this is the Town of Marlborough Reorganization meeting for January 8, 2018 at 7 p.m. I'd like to start the meeting off with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence for our brave men and women fighting all over the world for democracy and freedom, and for the loss of one of us, Gil, who was the force guard for many years, surely be missed. Thank you. Okay.
He's growing a beard.
Ed, you're just in time for my message, supervisor's message for 2018. I didn't want you to miss this.
That's one thing I never want to miss.
Oh, gee. That's just killing.
Okay, supervisor's message for 2018. I appreciate the opportunity to serve with this board for another term as supervisor. We have been able to do a lot for the people of Marlborough, and there is more work to be done. Thanks to the hard work of this board, the staff that supports us, and the various committees and boards that shoulder the load. We look forward to getting much accomplished. We've already built a foundation, now let's build the house. Thank you. Short and sweet. All right.
Dilly dilly.
Dilly.
I'd like to amend the reorg meeting. Just one quick amendment on the audits. We have the same audit, but they combine two companies and they call themselves RBT. So when we get to the audits, that's their name. That's who we use now. So I need a motion to make that amendment.
Motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. A motion to approve the agendas with the one audit.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Resolution to establish dates for a regular town board meeting. Bear with me, we do this every year. Be it resolved that the regular town board meeting will, throughout the year 2018, be held at 7 p.m. on the second and fourth Monday of each month in the town hall of the town of Marlborough, except if said Monday is a state or federal holiday. Then in that event, the meeting shall be held on the Tuesday following the state or federal holiday and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Molinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yep.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes. To appoint town board committee person, Supervisor Lanzetta appoints the following. Police Department liaison, Ed and Howard. Transfer station liaison, Allen and Howard. Highway Department liaison, Allen. Water and sewer liaison, Al and Allen. Assessor's office liaison, Ed and Scott. Town clerk liaison, Ed and Al. Town justice liaison, Scott and Ed. Town building, park liaison, Scott and Allen. Planning and zoning liaisons, Al and Howard. Building department liaison, Allen and Ed. Labor management liaisons, Al and Scott. Citizens Committee, Agriculture Committee, Al and Howard. Conservation Advisory Council, Scott and Al. Revitalization Economic Development Committee, Al and Howard. Recreation Committee, Al and Scott. Emergency Preparedness Committee, Al and Allen. IT Committee, Howard and Scott. Milton Train Station Committee, Scott and Al. Meet Me in Marlborough, Al and Mr. Molinelli. Hamlet of Milton Association, Alan and Ned. Water Committee, Alan and Al. Transfer Station Review Committee, Alan and Howard. Milton Landing Citizens Committee, Alan and Al, and moves for its adoption. You see any change? We didn't change anything. Is everybody all right with that? Okay.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. A resolution authorizing the supervisor and deputy supervisor to sign checks. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following: be resolved that the supervisor and the deputy supervisor be and are hereby authorized to sign checks for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2018, and to authorize use of the fax mails machine. Be further resolved that all checks over $10,000 shall be signed, hand signed, and required both signatures, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yep.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. Item 8, resolution to establish official bonds. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following: be resolved that in accordance with Chapter 25 of the Town Law, that the amounts for the official bonds be set as follows. For the year 2018, Town Clerk/Tax Collector, total amount of tax warrant. Town Supervisor, $100,000. All other employees, $5,000, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, resolution to establish mileage allowance. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following: be it resolved that the mileage rate is the prevailing IRS rate per mile to be allowed for specific town officials, with the approval of the town board for use of their own vehicles for official town business, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. Resolution to authorize senior citizens rent. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following: be it resolved that the town board of Town of Marlborough has budgeted the amount of $7,000 to cover the cost of rent for the senior citizens of the Town of Marlborough for 2018 to be paid to the Presbyterian Church for the senior citizens meetings, and moves for its adoptions.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. Resolution to set transfer station hours of operation. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following: be it resolved that the operation hours for the transfer station be set as follows. For the year 2018, Friday 8 a.m. to 11:30 p.m., Saturday 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., Sunday 9 to 12:30 p.m.
Don't think you want it open to 11 PM on Friday?
It's gotta be AM.
Did we change that?
It should be AM.
11 PM is midnight.
Oh,
Should be AM.
I think she originally had 12:30, so she just changed the 11,
Yeah, she didn't change the,
but not the AM.
that should be a.m.
on the Friday.
A.M.
on a Friday.
Cut it an hour, I think. The town guys aren't gonna like you to run that far.
Thank you for that hawk there. So with that correction, moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli.
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
Yes.
Councilman Baker.
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, resolution to adopt the fee schedule for 2018. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following: be resolved that the fee schedule for 2018 be set as follows, and that's a C attachment. Basically, I would say that everything changed except for a few things. Water department fees changed. Damage to water meter due to negligence of freeze, replace base of top of meter. That's for 1 inch now is $250, and then replace the entire meter is $400, and the meter connectors is $250 for 1 inch. That all applies to 1 inch. On the next page, existing non-billable taps and pre-existing taps on properties, the water main that have been put in by contractors, and the town has taken them over, $1,500. And also road cut openings for sewer water, anything over 1 inch is $5,000 for road repair bond for 6 months. And excavator for hydraulic hammer is $125. The reason for the, what I understand, Charlie, the reason for the 5,000 road bond is a lot of times they do the work and then it sags, then we have to go back and redo it.
Yeah, this is Gail recommended.
Okay, Mr. Apple recommended that. Building department, so its residential application is now $750 plus 20 cents per square foot, and the commercial is $950 plus 20 per square foot. And talking to our building inspector, Mr. Corcoran, we're still way below a lot of people in a lot of communities that are joining us. And the only other thing that we changed was burning permits, $5. So, with that said, and those changes, moves for adoption on that? Fee
Councilman
schedule?
Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes. A resolution to authorize the opening of competitive bids. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following: be resolved that authorization of open competitive bids of public work projects and purchase contracts required to be advertised, to be given to the supervisor, deputy supervisor, town clerk, deputy town clerk, and budget officer, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes. Resolution to designation and appointment. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following: be it resolved that the following designation appointments be approved for the 2018 calendar. Basically, it's the same. It hasn't changed. Our insurance company is the same. Our official town newspaper is the same. Our banks are the same, Key Bank and M&T Bank. Record Detention Office is still Colleen Corcoran. Collector of Water and Sewer Rents, Colleen Corcoran. Welfare Officer is myself. Town Historian is Tom Schroeder. Police Chief, Civil Defense Director is Jerry Kokoza. Water Superintendent is still Charles Maggio. Deputy Highway Superintendent is John Alonji. Dog Control Officer Andrew McKee. Transfer Station Manager is Larry Berman. Recycling Coordinator is still Vincent Purcelli. Voting Machine Custodian Salvatore Silla. Bob Post. Park Maintenance still Mr. Tom Schroeder. Assessor Cindy Hilbert. Prosecutor Dan Russ and Bruce Jr. Building Inspector Thomas Corcoran. Code Enforcer Thomas Corcoran. Zoning Inspector Thomas Corcoran and Fire Inspector Thomas Corcoran. Camp Director Kim Pomeroy. Assistant Camp Director is Linda Morales. And Web Administrator is Danielle Cherubini.
I just have one question.
Yes.
I know Gail lost one of his deputies, right? I mean, wasn't Kenny Bolson a deputy also retired on the Christmas?
I don't think he's replaced him yet.
But he does have an opening for that, correct?
He's got an opening for a highway department position. He'll appoint from within for his, his foreman. He'll appoint the foreman when he's ready, I believe.
Right, okay.
So that'll change eventually.
I
but-
just want to make sure everybody knew that we were probably getting a foreman.
Yeah, he hasn't officially retired yet, and then we'll make the appointment.
Well, his last day of work was 25th, he has to use up his days, I think it's
Yeah.
the middle of January.
January,
Yep.
yeah, but I asked Gail about it. He says he's waiting till.
Okay. Ethics Board hasn't changed. Planning Board Attorney is still Vanderwater and Vanderwater. Planning Board Chairman is still Chris Brand. Planning Board members are still Steve Clark, Manny Cochi, Cindy Lanzetta, Ben Trapani, Joel Troncalli, Joseph LaFaro. ZBA Attorney is no longer Vanderwater and Vanderwater. That's an error. My bad, I didn't pick it up. That's Rebecca Volz.
Rebecca Wolf.
Chairman is still William Giametta.
How do you spell her last name? V-O-L-T?
V-A-L-T?
Like a vault with a Z on the end.
Yeah, V-O-L-T?
V-O-L-T-Z? Yeah, something like that.
Think so. I'm terrible.
Tommy's gonna get it for us.
ZBA members are still Dave Zambito, Lenny Kahn, George Sullivan, Jeff McKeel. Board of Assessment Review is still Stephen Clark, Joan Delatorre, Ralph Walters, Joe Troncalli, Jeff Magliato. Town Engineer is still McGoley, Hauser, Netzel, Bernier Larios, Bell Engineer, Barton LaJudas, Beham Associates. Planning Engineers, Beham Associates. Planning Board Consultant and Engineer Consultant Technical Review is McGoo, Hauser, and Etzel. And legal is all the same, Rusk, Walden, Vanderwater, Donahue.
How come Rebecca's not in there?
Got in there too.
You gotta have to
And Dave, I see
What is that?
Mackey Butts and Wise, that includes.
Mackie Butts and Wise.
Yeah, Mackey Butts and Wise.
That's
includes-
it. Yeah, that's the
That's
firm.
Rebecca,
That's
Mackie
the
Butts
firm.
and Wise.
her and Mr. Wise are together. So
And the
that's-
auditors, as we changed to RPBT CPAs. It moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. Town Supervisor's designation, Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. We resolve the following are appointed by the Supervisor for 2018 calendar year. Deputy Supervisor Howard Baker, Secretary to Supervisor Tina Rosa, Budget Officer Christine Wilco, Fixed Asset Officer is also Christine Wilco. Resolution to establish salaries, Supervisor Lanzetta proposed the following.
We didn't have a roll call for 15.
What is 15?
What are the appointments?
That, you don't need a,
You appointed because you appointed. them.
Yeah, we don't have to go through.
we go through this every
Every year, yes,
That's what I told her, said, you forgot the
right.
roll call. She
you're
said,
right.
"No."
because you
don't have
make
to
the
do it for-
appointments, you'll have to do the roll call.
That's true.
Well, maybe next year.
Maybe next year we'll get it. Don't
So I'm
guess.
not gonna read everybody's salary.
But 11 years now, still I didn't get a raise.
No, you did, 500.
4 years out.
I got 11.
You used to be 49.50.
I did.
And moves for its adoption.
49.50.
Ready for its adoption, Councilman Corcoran,
Councilman Corcoran.
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli. He's listening to me.
Councilman, oh, no.
Yes.
We're
Councilman
looking at all the
Koenig,
salaries.
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. So resolution to appoint ongoing committees. Guys, one meeting, please. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following resolved that the following be appointed to Town of Marlborough committees. Agricultural Committee is still Al Lanzetta and Howard Baker. We had the Revitalization Economic Development Committee, that stays the same. Recreation Committee stays the same. Emergency Management Preparedness Committee, same. IT is the same. CAC Committee is the same. Milton Landing Citizens Committee, no change. Train Station Committee, no change. Hamlet of Milton Association, no change. Water Committee, no change. Transfer Station Review Committee, no change. Meet Me in Marlborough Committee, no change. And Colleen?
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of committees, so if anybody wants to join any of those committees, just give a call to the supervisor's office. We'd love to have you. It's always good to have new blood. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following: water quality management. Be resolved that the annual contract charge for service between the Town of Marlborough and Anthony Falco for the operation of the Marlborough Sewer Treatment Plant and the Milton Sewer Treatment Plant for the calendar year 2018 be as follows. The Town of Marlborough Sewer Treatment Plant, $72,000 annually. Town of Milton Sewer Plant, Treatment Plant, $28,000 annually, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. Emergency Management Plan, Supervisor Lanzetta proposes as following: be it resolved that the town's emergency management preparedness plan has been reviewed and updated for the 2018 and shall be reviewed and updated for all reorganization meetings, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes, thank you. Resolution to establish water rates. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following: be resolved that the schedule for water U.S. rates for the year 2018 be as follows: $7.66 per 1,000 gallons from 0 to 100,000 gallons used, $8.66 per 1,000 gallons for 100,001 to 200,000 gallons used. I don't know where that one comes from, but $9.666 per 1,000 gallons from 200,000, I got it now, 001 and higher, and a minimum of 10,000 per tri-annual period, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes, thank you. Resolution to establish sewer rates. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. Be resolved that sewer rates for 2018 be as follows. Marlborough Sewer District, 4.80 per thousand gallons. Milton Sewer District, 6.50 per thousand gallons, and a minimum of $10 per tri-annual period, and moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes, thank you. I have to train for this one.
Oh, it's a time.
So item 22, reminded that the opening of the time capsule in the year of 2088, which I'm sure a lot of us won't be here, maybe,
I'm gonna be here.
to ensure the town will celebrate its 300th birthday with the opening of the time capsule buried at the Veterans Memorial Monument located at the Marlborough Middle School. Route 9W, Marlborough, New York, 12542. Please continue this notice annually at the request of the supervisor as part of the minutes of the reorganization meeting. Thank you, gentlemen.
I'm gonna make a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
You can't motion to adjourn. We got our regular meeting, I know. Just trying to make you feel good.
Well, we need a motion to close this, right?
Yeah, we just
Yeah.
closed
Yeah,
it.
we do.
Make a motion, we close the reorganization meeting.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? None? So moved. So we have the sewer plant operator agreement. If gentlemen need a motion for the supervisor to sign that agreement with Mr. Falco.
I make a motion for the supervisor to sign the agreement with Mr. Falco.
I need a second.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Thank you. So we finished the motion to end the portion of the meeting.
Yeah, I read motion, well, you and Eddie did it.
Okay,
Aye.
did it on
Aye,
your
did
own.
it.
Okay. So let's move right along to the regular meeting. This is our regular meeting for January 8, 2018. By the way, Happy New Year to everybody. And here we go. So motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion? None? So moved. Motion to approve minutes from the December 11, 2017 Town Board meeting.
I make that motion.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Authorize payment of bills. There's two,
We got two.
distribution requests. One is for 2017 was in the amount of $92,847.22. And in 2018, there was one for $57,870.09, with a total being $150,717.31. Authorized to pay the bills, gentlemen.
Pay the bills.
Pay him up.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Comments on the agenda? No presentation? Report of departments and boards. So I have, I'll kick it off. So, Supervisor's report for January 2018. First of all, I want to express my appreciation to the town clerk, Colleen Corcoran, and her staff, especially Danielle Cherubini, for stepping up to help the community in the effort to pay 2018 property taxes early. Town Assessor Cindy Hilbert and her staff also helped out to make a unique situation run as smoothly as possible. Planning Board Secretary Virginia Flynn and other town employees jumped in as needed. It really was a group effort, and I want to thank everyone involved. Thank you very much, Colleen, and a Happy New Year.
How many many people did that?
We actually made $1 million already, and normally around this time I have like 200,000. So roughly like 800,000 more.
So
Do you have
a bunch of people
Well,
prepaid.
it's for prepayment, a lot of people were farmers, have a lot of different properties, so it's hard, they have multiple properties. So we don't really know the amount of people, maybe 200 people roughly.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, that's roughly what we're, so.
People have enough money to pay their taxes early. I don't know if they have to worry about their taxes, but I was gonna ask,
Well, it was a unique situation.
But if you think about it,
and I think they all.
You get your taxes in January,
Yeah.
it's only like a week later.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask Ralph, from an accounting perspective, I haven't talked to Chris about this. On a budget-wise, how do we do this since we're getting taxes early?
Money's gone already.
They're, I think they just applied to 2018 taxes.
Yeah. the
So, but
money's
I mean, is that
already
gonna put a hole in our 2019 budget?
No.
I mean, I know it'll be in our fund balance, but
gone. No, we just collected
No,
it
it goes
early.
into your 2018 taxes.
The tax collector probably kept those checks and deposited them in 18.
I could not put, I told Danielle when this all happened, my program does not allow for me to start putting the money until January 1st. So when I put it in my system, I have to put in the memo, paid on, and I put the date that they paid. And then we had to tell them, you have to speak to your accountant. It's not up to us what happens with that.
But they're 2019 taxes or
2018.
They're
2018
2018
taxes,
taxes,
I
but they
mean?
paid in December
She doesn't put
28.
them in until the 1st of January.
My computer does not allow me to enter it in until January 1st.
They're not credited.
Yeah, you can't, and
Okay, so they're
so
not
we're
credited.
put,
But it's just like they paid it the
Yeah.
1st of January.
so all the tax collectors that accepted the payments, we're putting in the memos when they paid. So when
Yeah.
we print up their bill, it will show, and we also stamp their statements. but-
Yeah, and we were very fortunate that everything the assessment was already done.
Yeah,
And
well,
and the
me and
preparation
Tommy,
of
the
taxes was there,
night
so you
before
had,
that
yeah,
happened,
otherwise you couldn't do
We thought
it.
we were all caught up, we had pulled all the bills, because I have to go up to the county and get all the bills and pull them, whatever's in escrow, which is, 1,000 bills? We just throw it to the ground and have to put aside, so the taxpayers don't pay that postage, so we thought we were all done, and, everything, and then the next day we find out that Cuomo's allowing this to happen.
Would they normally have been ready, those bills, would they have normally been ready at the time that we got them, or there were
Yeah.
something special was done to make it happen, right? Huh?
I
No?
think they were
No,
normally.
no,
there
they're
because they
usually
were
done.
all-
Yeah, they're usually
gonna
done
be
to
all
pull them.
January 1st.
Just
So-
Everybody
before.
had it
They
in
were
the
there.
mail and everything, I
there.
mean, in the envelope and everything.
Ulster County does a good job at that.
Yeah.
They're not mandated to get the tax bills to the clerks until the 31st of December.
But I usually get them a week before.
But they're usually ahead of the game, and then
Yeah.
Cuomo's mandate came out that mandated they get by the
Yeah,
28th.
they shot that right
But
across.
we
They did a
usually
great
do
job.
have them. We usually,
Ulster County does a good job.
yeah, we're fine with that. It's just the pulling of the bills that take, all day and all
Pulling them
night.
from us, the escrow
Escrow
and
accounts, because
non-escrow,
they print them, don't ask me why, but they print those bills.
even though they're escrow.
Regardless, I asked them
They
to do
just
a
started doing that
program
in
and
the
not
last
to
couple of
print
years,
them,
though.
but they tell me they can't. I don't know why.
I never got a copy till the last couple of years.
We talked to them, Mary Beth Mayo's talked
Yeah,
to
but
them,
she
and
gets-
I don't
she
know.
gets-
You would only got a copy from the school.
She
You
gets
wouldn't
like
have got it from the town.
1,000, she
I
just
got
gets
something
to throw out.
the first week of January.
It's like
Well,
waste of
if
everything,
you're in
paper,
escrow and
postage,
you happen to
everything.
get
They
your
don't
bill,
even-
I'm not gonna pay it.
sometimes
You don't do
it's
anything
not
with it, just have
in
to
the
throw 'em
order which it's supposed to be, so it does,
You have to shred
go
'em,
through the
actually, which is
The
wayside.
last 2 years I got them. I don't know.
Yeah,
So it all
But that's-
worked out. The
Okay.
people
Yeah,
who
everything
wanted
worked out.
prepaid tax, they had the opportunity to
and
do
like I
that,
said,
and
I
it was
appreciate
legal, and everything was done properly.
everybody's help to
So they
step
could
up.
claim it on their 2017 taxes. Just continuing here, follow-up meeting with the high school on student participation with local waterfront revitalization plan. The reason for that was they changed the form for the volunteers, so I had to go back and look at all the people that, especially the students, individuals, to get their 1 hour, which is worth $20. I sent that to them, so hopefully, I didn't hear anything, hopefully that satisfies them. And plus, our contribution with the hours and time we spent, I think it's $28 for us who participated, Scott. Howard, meeting with the Marlborough Economic Development Committee at the Dan Scammer Bed and Breakfast. I think, Howard, you could tell us a little bit more. I think we decided that we're going to have our next meeting, we're going to include Milton and start working that way as Marlborough OUGH.
Right, economic development.
Right. Went to Albany to attend Regional Economic Development Grants Award. Unfortunately, we did not receive any. We're waiting, thanks to Howard, he wrote quite a few letters to see how we could improve our standing, and haven't really heard any replies yet, but we're going to have a meeting with Parks and Rec.
Just the one from Aaron.
Yeah, to see how we can go forward. Went to Ulster County Supervisors Luncheon, attending meeting in New Paltz at Regional DC with Rosemary Wine to discuss Milton Landing docks. There's some issue about the length of the docks, but I think we're coming to some conclusion that it's probably going to be, they really don't know what the proper length is, but they're going to look at different other places that have it, Alan, and then come back to us. We're very fortunate in that meeting, it was brought up that we have an existing dock, so we could like sort of grandfather in, otherwise that South Pier would never happen. Met with Tim Marcus to review a AT&T cell tower. This is a cell tower on Mr. Osborne's property. Unfortunately, he bought the house not knowing about the cell tower, and that's another indication, buyer beware. I think talk to your neighbors, see what's going on. He looked out the window one day and there was this big tower. So I felt sorry for him, but I really couldn't help him. I met to discuss Town of Newburgh power plant status with John DeMarco, Councilman Baker, representatives of Marlborough School District, Orange County Assessment Office, representative, and Town of Newburgh. That's just to make sure that we have a seat at the table. 2019 is Roaston, right? That court order, and 2021 is Dan Scammell when the pilot goes off. So we want to make sure that the town of Marlborough and the school district have a seat at that table. And that's being headed up by John DeMarco. Joined Robert Tronsley for a meeting at the Office of Town Engineer, Magui House in Etzel, to discuss a sprinkler system for Route 9W proposed waterhouse project. Applicant also attended, as well as Building Inspector Tom Corcoran. We had a via teleconference. At that meeting, the applicant was satisfied. He's moving forward with the project. Actually, he met the deadline for the planning board last Friday, and he'll be on the agenda coming up. So that's a 40,000 square foot warehouse with the potential of adding 30,000 square foot also for the pods. I met with Water Superintendent Maggio and Councilman Corcoran at the Chestnut Petroleum site to discuss relocation of the water pipe. I think we came to some conclusion, but I think, Scott, maybe due to the weather and the freezing that was put on hold. Meeting at Town Hall were representatives from Central Hudson, Councilman Corcoran, Building Inspector Tom Corcoran, and Highway Supervisor Gail Apper to discuss sidewalk project installation of gas lines in Marlborough. Were you there, Tom?
No.
I don't remember that.
No, I put you down
Doesn't
on
mean
it.
anything.
Take the credit. Basically, we received the grant, the 250, we're in contract, so now we're moving forward. So we have some telephones that have to be moved from Central Hudson.
There was a good note today.
Utility poles.
That was
Yeah.
a good note he sent today.
Huh?
Good note he sent.
Yeah, and at that meeting, I mentioned that it's a municipal project and they should do it for free, and they said no, that we would have to pay for it. But then today, he sent an email saying he was wrong and that, yeah, they'll pick up the tab because it's sidewalk, it's public health, public safety, blah, blah, blah. So that was a good meeting. And also, at that meeting, Scott arranged to do an audit on all our buildings, right?
Yep, the 15th. We're starting for LED lighting inside all the buildings. Across
With
town.
the telephone or utility pole moves, if we are going to schedule that, and schedule our workers or the people that come in and do the sidewalks, you better make sure that the cable companies and the phone companies get something in writing, because Central Hudson's gonna come, they're gonna take the utilities off the pole, they're gonna cut the top of the pole off, and they're gonna leave cable and telephone.
Yeah.
And they seem to come
Good
whenever
point.
they feel like coming.
Good point.
So, you don't wanna have our workers show up to put the sidewalks in.
Yeah, we've gone through that before.
Oh, well.
I think the sidewalk from like Frida's up to the church, they put a new telephone pole in, but the old pole stayed in the middle of the sidewalks, right? Yep, thank you. Thank you for a heads up on that. Okay, moving right along. Building inspector. Mr. Corcoran?
So was I at that meeting? I don't know.
No,
Oh, okay.
but I put you down anyhow. You should have been probably.
Get credit for it. Monthly report, Building Department, December 2017. Certificate of occupancy, 2. Stop work orders, 1. Request for information, 8. Building extensions, 3. Order to remedy, 12. Complaints, 33. Fire inspections, 9. Burn permits issued, 15. Fire calls, 1. Building permits issued, 15. 1 boiler, 1 demolition, 2 tank installation removals, 1 shed, 1 roof, 1 barn, 2 additions, 5 decks, 1 solar panel install for an estimated cost of building, $111,587. Monthly receipts, certificate of occupancy, 300, request for information, 600, building extension, 600, building permit totals, 1840.96, fire inspection fees, 640, for a total monthly receipt of $3,980.96. Total miles, 811, total gas gallons used, 57 gallons.
Thank you, Tom. And while you're up there, we discussed this, and this is going to be ongoing, I guess. So I just wanted to get the input from the board about, once again, sidewalks, snow removal.
I already got a call today.
So when I look at, in the hamlet itself, I'm pretty satisfied, or, you know, it could be a little bit better, but I see to the, I guess it'd be the west, that sidewalk is pretty much cleared by Purchase. Down King Street, looks pretty good. But when you go further north up Western Avenue, it looks like in front of a lot of residential. It hasn't been.
Going out towards the library you're talking about?
No,
towards Post
up Western Avenue.
Towards the post office. It's west.
Towards the
That's
post
west,
office, you know. So, we discussed this.
Right, so the authority in the code book is given 2 ways. 1, to me, under a written violation, which could take 2 to 3 weeks to resolve. And with the sidewalk, doesn't work. It snows on Monday, and by Friday, if it warms up, it's gone, and potentially, you know, it doesn't go around it. The other authority given in the code book is given to the town board for removal after 24 hours, and for that to be billed back to the individual or the owner of the property. So the conversation me and the supervisor had, and the suggestion might be, is that you take on estimates from different individuals to get an hourly rate, and then at the end of 24 hours, you send them out and clean it. Because the court appearance and the way that the book's set up through my department is just not an efficient way to do it, and it just won't happen that way. And I know we discussed it last year, we put it on the back burner, and we sent out letters, and I wrote up 40 violations that never got mailed out, and again, it's just a inefficient way to deal with it. So the provisions of the code book allow for the town board to act after 24 hours. And I think it's as simple as that, is that the code book allows for estimates to be given for an hourly rate, and whether you do that on a rotating list like we do the tow list, or you just award the lowest bid on an hourly rate to somebody, and at the end of 24 hours, you just send that individual out, bill it out based on time. It took 10 minutes for this sidewalk, it took 20 minutes for this sidewalk. You break the cost down and just mail the bills out. It's almost like a ticketing procedure through the police department. If they're parked in a spot that's a no parking spot, they get a ticket. It's an immediate, you know, remedy. They don't issue a violation and have to go to court to get the fees. I mean, it's a ticket. I don't have that authority for ticketing, but you have the authority after the 24 hours to issue the removal and then to issue the bill after that fact. So that would be the.
Then it gets added to
Put
their
it on
tax.
the taxes.
Well, ultimately it can be, but you issue the bill to the individual. You write the billing cost breakdown comes down and they get issued a bill. You know, you did not do your sidewalk on December 28th. The individual for the town, it was 20 minutes at an hourly rate of this. This is your portion thereof. Please remit bill to the town of Marlborough.
Have we ever reached out to Newburgh or Poughkeepsie City and asked how they do this? Because they have a very efficient way of dealing with it.
I think they tax.
Yeah,
How do they do it?
well, there's two different ways. One, cities have totally different ways of doing it. One, it's just an automatic ticketing procedure, and Charlie could attest to this because he has some properties. But in a city atmosphere, it's different than a town atmosphere, and within their code book, it's a ticketing procedure where they do give a ticket, just like you do in a parking situation. So they're ticketed on the spot. They would have somebody to basically
So the police
enforce
officer
that.
does it, or-
No, because again, right, Department of Sanitation, which is in that
That's what
a city atmosphere. It's like a parking meter maid who goes around checking parking meters. Again, it's a different job in a city, so it's unfair to compare us to a city comparison because they have people that would actually handle that. Let's say during the summer they're working on parking meters and other things, and then in the winter their responsibility would be for sidewalks. So their job would be year-round, but in a different capacity. So that's the city capacity. Other towns do it the same way we would do it, issuing this way, or two, there's a taxation. If you're in the sidewalk district, they charge you for snow removal in the district, and you just get charged to be in that district.
We can't, as a board, give you authority to give a ticket
Oh, I
right on
don't-
the spot?
That's a legal question. I don't believe so. My authority all
I mean,
comes
if they're
through.
doing it in a city venue, why can't we give it?
They have guys
You can do a stop order.
Well, it's the same thing.
If
We
someone's
gave
doing,
him the
if
authority
someone's
to
doing a
do it,
building
why can't
project,
he
you
do
can
it?
issue a stop order.
That's correct.
You can issue a violation, but this might be a little bit different than.
Could be outside the realm of me. That's a legal question.
But I mean, obviously, if they're hiring anybody to be a ticket officer in Poughkeepsie, why can't we hire,
Couldn't it go through, could it go
give
through
someone that authority here?
department? You can issue a parking ticket.
Or if they can't, we don't move the car, we're off the
We
street.
set up the no parking zones. We could set up the snow removal zones and
I think-
tickets can be issued.
Yeah, I think there was only one car that didn't move, right?
The one by the bank, across from the bank?
Well,
Parking you can do.
I think,
The one?
without being disrespectful, I think you're kind of overthinking it. It's already in the code book. It's there.
I understand that it's there, but then the question comes into who determines when the 24-hour clock starts?
Well, that can be determined by my department. I mean, that's a
Not by
zoning
you, I know,
situation.
I'm just saying,
Says,
who
I think it says
determines?
DLS.
That's
If
Gail.
obviously,
I think it says the highway superintendent.
No, in the code book, it says the highway superintendent is or. It's removal within 24 hours, and the town board takes care of that, or within 4 hours' notice of the highway superintendent. So what happens, it gives them a secondary thing where the highway department superintendent would say, he would show up, again, and this is unfair to ask, I believe, of our highway department, who at that time is going to be on the road, for somebody to show up and knock on the door and say, I'm giving you 4 hours' notice to remove it, or we're going to charge you. That's the secondary portion thereof in that code book.
I think what Scott's getting to, who is going to determine
When it starts.
when it starts and who's gonna go to drive around and find out who hasn't plowed their, or cleaned their
I just don't
sidewalk.
think, I mean, in the city, they have a ton of
Take a
deputies. I mean, I lived in the city, and they guys go around with the clipboards.
I think like,
Who's gonna do the
should
administration?
we ask Gail to tell us, to send a note out every time there's a snowstorm to say the snow ended at this time?
I don't think it's at time.
I mean, we have to,
can find
he's
that
the
on
only
the
one who knows.
computers.
I think it's gotta be the following morning, it starts from like, say, a normal time the next morning.
What if it's still snowing in the morning?
Then it starts right away, but I'm just saying, if it stops at night, I don't think you gotta wait till the next morning to start your clock.
Well, I mean, obviously, this is a
That's why this is
conversation
like
you
a
need to have. I mean, if it becomes
I mean, to be
the
honest,
realm
I
of my
got it out.
department.
I thought it was a lot better. I went through the town that
Because
day.
Frankie went
It
through,
was
he had to
definitely
look
better.
over.
Yeah, let's see how this winter goes.
You know who didn't plow any of their sidewalks? They plowed right into the sidewalks? The school.
Oh, yeah.
They still have
yeah,
not
they
cleared
haven't
the
done
sidewalks in
theirs.
front of their school.
Yeah, because the agreement with this sidewalk was the county put it in,
The
but the school
school in front of the
maintains
middle
it.
school is still plowed in.
Yeah.
Thanks to Charlie, he helped me,
They
I
never
saw you
plowed,
guys,
they
yeah, I
never
saw
do
you
it.
guys doing
got
it, but
that
still,
clean.
it's their responsibility to do it. That was
so
the
we're,
agreement.
we're,
So we have the authority, we should do it, but who is going to do it? Who is
Here we
going to
go
be the
again.
person to do that? That's the
I think
thing.
we could,
Well,
we should form a
If
committee on
it's
this.
a town board thing, we
Talk
have
about
to
it for another hour.
allocate somebody to
Well,
issue
again,
the tickets.
you have to allocate somebody to clear the sidewalk. So in theory, I guess,
That we'd hire somebody.
the person you're hiring to do the clearing
$250.
puts them on the clock at the 24 hours and goes out there. I mean, you shouldn't have to police this on an individual, daily basis, hourly basis. If the company you hired who comes in at the low bid, if that's the way you're going outside a rotating thing, they're the ones that are going to be put on call to say, listen, 24 hours after snow stops falling, or the next morning, whatever you guys want to put on. I mean, you could put next morning after the snowfall starts to give them 24 the next day.
I don't think what the company's.
Then in theory, that hired company goes out there and clears it. You shouldn't have to even police
Is
it.
any company gonna be interested in that?
I think you did bids last year,
We had bids come in
We
last
got bids last year, I remember, but.
and I think what's gonna
The ideal
happen,
situation for this whole scenario
So everybody
is,
clean it up.
wherever there's a sidewalk in the hamlet, we should create some kind of a district for sidewalks. And you collect a tax, and we pay someone to come and do it every year. End of story. And we don't even rely on the person. Say, we're taxing you, this is what it costs you, we're clearing the sidewalks. And we'll get rid of all this stuff.
that's,
We try to stay
Anywhere
away
there's a
from the
sidewalk.
tax,
I
you
know, but that's where it's gonna have to go.
well, listen,
You're
that's,
punishing people that do clean them.
I know, but,
You're not giving them a choice to clean their own sidewalk.
you know, sometimes you don't have a choice. Maybe it's, you know, whatever the tax might be, you figure it out.
see, that's your decision, because again, that's, other municipalities do have a sidewalk district.
Let's wait till the next storm to continue
Well, I
the
mean, not even
conversation.
that, we deal this all the time, and then, like, the sidewalk tax should also be for upkeep of the sidewalk, right? Throughout the year, if it get hit by a plow, or if it cracks, or it breaks. You know,
I don't
the
have
person who has a sidewalk in front of their house that we put there
I don't think that's
should
fair.
fix it,
No, you wouldn't be in the sidewalk.
right?
No, I'm not, I know, but I'm just saying, if I was in the sidewalk district, I think if I maintain my own
I
sidewalk.
mean, we just put
and I
that
wanna maintain
sidewalk
my own
down Grand
sidewalk,
Street,
why can't I be given that choice?
it increased
when
the
the time
value
comes
of
to
all those
replace it,
houses
you
on
wanna
Grand
fix
Street, and they,
something.
on the
Make it
cost
walk
of
up and
all
say
the
you
other
wish that-
taxpayers in the town,
So,
I'll probably be dead by then.
right?
From the pilots.
I just think we really gotta seriously think this year about creating some kind of sidewalk district.
Let's
I
have
know it's not a
separate
good
meeting.
thing
Let's
Yeah, let's.
that we're adding
maybe we should go to
taxes, but
committee on this.
Why don't we
well,
just
why
set
don't
up-
we do this? Why don't, why don't we talk about this and email it? And I'll look at, see what other towns do. I think I did this, we're going around.
Yeah, Highland does their own, they
Well, I
got-
see Highland guys, they're out there right away, they snowball.
Town of Hyde
everything.
Park too.
Yeah.
Park,
They
The
have
parks do it.
the highway
they do it on
department
the state
snowballs.
highway.
I don't know how they deal with the cost, but they have their guys
Yeah,
do it.
they're out there snowballing.
Well, if it's a DPW, it's a different story.
Yeah, it
They're
is.
a highway department.
Well, I'm saying, that there's a highway department and you know there's a DPW, there's a
Well, they're a
different,
highway department, but they
Yeah, they're
have
same
the
as
parks,
us. They don't have it.
Okay.
but they snowplow all the sidewalks.
They don't even snow, they.
I mean, not
blow.
snowplow,
Yeah,
snowblower,
yeah,
that's what I mean, you know.
yeah. I've seen them do it.
We could hire someone to do it ourselves internally. In the winter, we hire
Tom,
a kid, or whoever.
I'll be out there in his
And,
jeans.
you know, we'll buy a snowblower and
Hey, but they just
Do
bought a
it.
snow blower.
and then we charge the people an X amount of dollars, which would be minimal if we did it, you know, I mean,
All right, well, let's
That's
have.
a good point. Let's look
well,
at
that's
that.
the whole, what we just discussed. You hired somebody at low bid and then after the snow, 24 hours, you
maybe
send
we
them out
hire
there.
someone
Hire
personally.
someone
Yeah,
to
but
pay.
it's not gonna be 200.
Well, that's something, you have to hire somebody to pay.
Right.
I'm saying you
Doesn't have to
hire
be
a person like you
company.
hired a parks person during the park, when we hire a parks person like Tom during the summer, right? We hire someone like that during the winter. And say, your job is to snowplow
Snowblow.
all the sidewalks, and we're gonna pay you, and we're gonna distribute that cost to the sidewalk district. And it's gonna be very minimal, because you're gonna pay the person, you're not gonna pay them $250 an hour, which is the bids we got, to do a
We're gonna
sidewalk.
supply the equipment, or we're gonna do something for
Or
it.
you buy a snowblower.
Put each one in each hamlet, really, that's.
I'm just saying, we go through this, we've all been here, I've been here 6
Yeah,
years.
but
you've been
you're gonna have a hard
It's the
time
same
finding
thing.
a part-time individual to work for $15 an hour and have him on call, you know,
think? I
whenever
don't-
it happens to be.
I don't think we'd have a
You
hard
know,
time at all.
I think these are all great ideas. I think we're discussing it, so let's put it down on paper, let's look at it.
You might get the crossing guard guy.
I was gonna say, it wasn't easy for you guys getting a crossing guard, was it?
Where are they playing?
You might have the transfer stations, whoever, I'm sure there's someone out there.
I don't
who
know.
wants to do it.
You never know, you never know.
I think you already have it in the code book, it's already satisfied, it's just acting on it. That's
Thank
my
you, Tom.
But my
Thank you
thing
for
is, Tom,
discussion.
we never act on it.
Let's go.
What, $250 an hour, I don't care if you guys charge $500 an hour, the cost isn't incurred by the town board.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Listen, we don't want the money from the time around, they get charged $50, $60, $100 to do a sidewalk, you know they're gonna do it the
But
next
some of
time.
the reason is because they're older people, they can't do it. There's a lot of different reasons.
No, Marlborough Market was one of those.
Slumlords, the people in there don't care. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I saw them, it was, maybe they,
I just say,
thanks for
Put
the
it in the park.
conversation. We'll continue it. We'll do something, we gotta do something. Police chief,
yeah, I gotta pay someone back.
Activity summary for the month of December 2017. Motor vehicle accidents, personal injury 5, fatal 0, property damage 21, accidents not requiring report 17, for a total of 43 for the month. Summonses issued, vehicle and traffic 84, parking 0. Bladder entries handled 321 with a total of 23 arrests. 1,801 phone calls were handled. We had no overtime for either the part-time or the full-time dispatchers. Grant overtime and stuff is attached. Police mileage is 10,314 miles with a fuel consumption of 917.559 gallons. Our drone is in. We picked it up on Friday. It's pretty cool. As soon as,
been playing with it?
Detective Jeremino and Sergeant Griggs have been familiarizing themselves with it. And it is pretty impressive, and as soon as they hone their skills a little bit, I'll have a small demo done. It's difficult to fly indoors, but it can be done, so you can at least see
Yeah, do
it.
it in here.
Well,
Right here, do
we
it.
can at least set it up on the table, and you guys can see it and touch it and look at
I
it.
wanna
Maybe
see
not
you
fly
land
it,
it
but
right there.
it's I mean, I've seen
They are
drones.
going for training, right? Up in this- up-
They went.
They did.
They went. There is a class to get them ready for their FAA license, and then the fee for to take the test. But they received the training and stuff, so now it's just a matter of them honing their skills. And I looked at it this morning. It looks very simple to fly. I can't wait to get it outside and actually see. As anybody's ever had experience with the drones that you buy for us, they can be kind of cumbersome and difficult. This is fairly stupid-proof, fairly.
I could have my son come, he could fly those things perfect.
Yeah.
Matt.
Oh my God, he could land the thing on the
Fortunately
dime.
for us, Nick is into drones
I don't know how
already,
he does it,
so
'cause I
this
can't
is
do
not a sharp strap. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Hand.
Other than that, Officer Fulton was released from the hospital.
I didn't know he was in the hospital.
Didn't I send you all an email?
No.
No.
Just Gil. I didn't send you an email and then also tell you Gil passed away?
I got the Gil one.
You got the Gill one, but we never got it.
Well, anyway, I'm sorry. Officer Fulton was admitted to the hospital because he had pneumonia, and that pneumonia caused a low O2 problem in his O2 sats, and they were concerned it caused heart damage. They ran tests today, and there is no heart damage. However, he's out of work for the next 3 weeks. So I'm trying to figure out something that we're going to do with the middle school for coverage. Now, I did get Greg Hogenkamp to work on Mondays, so he'll do Monday, Thursday, Friday now. I still have Tuesday, Wednesday coverage issues, and I spoke with Mike Brooks, and his response is that they'll be flexible. So that helps in my abilities to try and get it covered, but we're working on that.
You just lost Wachowski too, right?
Wazalewski went to Hyde Park,
he was
which vacated the spot, and that's why Kurt was doing it.
But you're interviewing for that.
On that note, we do have a young lady, we're gonna be setting up an interview, I'll send you an email. She wants to take that position. Even if we hurried along, we can't do it any quicker than a month, so it doesn't really help us out now, but it will prepare us for the very near future.
It's nice, it'd be nice to have a woman, yeah, and I had a woman out there. So.
Yeah, no, I think she'll be, when I interviewed her, she's very bubbly. I think the kids can relate with her. She's got a lot of juvenile mentoring in college.
Where's she work now?
Dutchess County Sheriff's Department as a jail transport. And she lives over in Poughkeepsie, lives with her parents. I'm very excited to have her. I think she's going to make a big difference in the middle school. I think they'll be able to relate to her because she is younger. She's not an old guy, so people tend to relate to women a little bit better. So I see you want me to read the dog control report. Okay. Monthly report 12/1/2017 through 12/31/2017. Andrew McKee, dog control officer. Received a total of 11 calls this month, including 5 calls of service from the Marlborough Police Department, State Police, and Ulster County Sheriff. Responded to 2 active complaints and/or cases which are now closed and resolved. We currently have 0 open cases that have been addressed but are ongoing and unresolved. We impounded 0 stray dogs. No appearance tickets were issued for the month. No dogs in the kennel. 0 dog bites to report. They have 1 case in Marlborough Justice Court this time. Little note, we are asking residents to please keep your pets indoors this winter with temperatures expected in the single digits and below 0. We also urge you to be aware of your neighbors' animals, and if you are concerned and unable to contact them, please call us. I can tell you that Andrew's had a couple of calls from neighbors about others' neighbors' dogs and stuff that were outside. He did call me on a couple of them. So he has been dealing with the issue, and it's been pretty busy for him that way.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Mr. Majeo.
Mr. Keel.
Mr. Gill.
Oh, Mr. Gale. Are you gonna read Gale's?
All right,
Yeah, you got it?
I got it. In my
All
readers.
right.
You can stay there, Charlie.
Well, you look glasses, I
Right,
like
I
that.
like Okay,
Can you read?
Look at this
Month-
guy with glasses.
monthly report for December 2017, Highway Superintendent Gail Appler. Roads, we did some coal patch patrols as needed. We did litter patrols throughout the township. We have done road patrols and repaired or replaced numerous street signs and road signs. We did some sanding, scraping, and painting of rusted truck bodies and plows. Drainage, we repaired a ditch line on Walnut and also on Old Post Road. Tree/brush, we cut up small trees on Penny Lane and South Road. Shared services, we repaired washouts at the landfill. Snow and ice, on 12/4 we had fog and 30-degree temp and salted the higher elevations for freezing conditions. On 12/9 we started at 10 a.m. and ended up with 4 to 5 inches of snow. On 12/14 we had 1.5 inches on the east side of town and 3 to 4 inches in the higher elevations. On December 15th we had about 1 inch of snow. On Christmas Eve, we pre-treated in the afternoon and came in at 5 a.m. Christmas Day, plowing of 3 to 4 inches of snow. Christmas morning. On 12/26, we had a clipper come through at night, and the next morning we had 3 trucks cleaning up the next day. On 12/30, we had a light snow for 9 hours that left 2 inches of snow. Fuel usage, gas, 381.126 gallons. Diesel, 1,383.447 gallons. Respectfully submitted, Gail Appler, Senior Highway Superintendent.
Thanks, Alan.
Any
Appreciate it.
questions, or? Good.
Amazing thing to me is if you'd asked me how many storms we had, I would have said 2 or 3.
Yeah,
You count these, there's at least.
it's all the
6,
little
7.
ones. Yeah, it's all the little
Yeah,
ones.
the little stuff.
Even today's, if you think about it, that little thing we had today.
That's icy out there.
It's icy. It is. They did a good job, Don. Christmas Eve, Christmas morning, they did a good job.
I'll be honest with you, our roads are looking better than the state or the county roads when I came home the other night.
Does a great job, Gale.
So,
Him and
thank
his
you.
guys.
I'll tell them.
I got a compliment from Dr. Pascal today about the new road. He must have checked it out right away. He said, Gail did a great job.
That's right, this new dedicated road.
New
Yeah.
dedicated
Charles?
Okay, the monthly report for December, water consumption totaled 13.5 million gallons, which is a daily usage of 436,000 a day, compared to last month where we had 12.6 million gallons, which is a daily usage of 422,000. Compared to a year ago, water consumption was 12.7 million for the month, which is a daily usage of 409,000 for the day. Summary for the month, hydrants, we're still installing snow markers. Valves, we had to repair a valve on South Street Extension. Water mains, we inspected and tested an 8-inch water main extension on Highland Avenue. Sewer, we repaired sewer lids on Du Bois Street, Bloom Street, Grand Street, Church Street, and Anna Place. Meters, we had to repair and replace several frozen meters in Milton and Marlborough, a total of 6. I also wrote down our water consumption for the total of 2017. We totaled 160 million gallons. That's an average of 13,333,000, which is a daily usage of 438,000. Compared to 2016, during the year we used 165 million gallons, which was an average of 13.758, and a daily usage was 452 and 44,000. Water main breaks, we totaled, in 10 in 2017 compared to 6 in 2016. Valve repairs, in 2017, we had 4, and in 2016, we had 8. There was 15 service line repairs in 2017, and in 2016, there were 20. Service line inspections, we didn't have any. Closings, 2. Markouts, 10. Gallons of gas for the month of December, 270, and the mileage for the month was 1530.
What was that? We had a water main break on Old Indian the other day?
Yeah.
That was a bad one, huh? It was down all day on a freezing cold day.
It was bad, because we had to shut down Milton. That was a distribution line, so our tanks, they worked properly. Also, I went down to Brooklyn Bottling and made sure that they weren't using more than 125 gallons per minute there. So as long as they kept their consumption down, everybody was satisfied with water.
Considering the weather, that's not too bad.
What do you mean our tanks work fine?
Well, there's valves that have to be maintained when there's less pressure. They're altitude valves, and that allows the water to go back into our system. So when our system is needing of pressure, the valves open up, and we do inspect them often. So one time we had a problem, but the valves were working. It was just that somebody was taking more water than we could supply them, and there was no pressure.
And it was just cold weather that caused the break?
We're assuming that.
Old age.
Pretty old, aren't they? Are they old?
Those are, no, they're ductile iron. It's the cold. Usually, when we get frozen weather, it's when like next week it'll probably be bad, because when the thaw, then things starts moving. The frost is about 2.5 feet below the surface, so
And this is an 8-inch pipe?
it was an 8-inch pipe.
But this is also why we need to have more than one 9W crossing to keep that Milton tank and the Milton line. We only have one line coming in off a ridge, comes down ridge, it goes up Prospect, down ridge.
Right.
Comes down and it crosses at Old Indian and 9W. I mean, we're probably never, it's gonna be a while before we could ever get a second line coming from Marlborough, but if we had a second line branching off that Old Indian line, coming down Chestnut, hitting 9W, and then connecting to where the top hydrant is on South Road. We need another 9W crossing.
So you were without fire protection, kind of?
We were, but we were, we had the tank, but we're limited. We're limited on
We're
the
just limited on the
We're gonna run out
pressure.
of water
When you say
eventually.
you mean a tank truck?
The
You get the tank of water up on top.
The tanks are over 500,000 gallons, so
Yeah.
there's enough water supply
For a normal 2 days?
Our cell phone
for
working.
Yeah, okay.
probably one,
Yeah, we have enough
we
storage.
just don't have enough pressure.
Yeah, there's not enough pressure, but we have enough storage for about 1.5 days of normal use. So if we did have a large fire event, that 1 day of use is gonna be gone based on our usage. Especially as frozen as everything is, it's gonna be tough for us to find a static water source. You know what I mean? And even when you do find them, you have to cut the holes and you don't really get the maximum flow. So we're gonna stick on these hydrants, but we're gonna take that tank and we're gonna beat it up pretty good. So you're not gonna have your 1 day reserve, your day and a half reserve.
And is the Marlboro tank still,
That's also, most of the time that's used just if there's a great demand for water. Again, if there's a fire and
on Western Avenue?
it has to be anywhere, they're satisfying the demand for water, and then the pressure goes down, and then the tanks kick in.
But that's also a reserve, like, your systems have to have reserve capacities for if there's an event with the pump house.
Right.
So if there was one, that Marlboro tank and the Milton tank act as reserves for the populace.
Right.
But it's only about what's Marlboro gonna give you, about a day?
It's they're both 500,000 tanks.
Yeah, half a million, but Marlboro's got more usage, more end users, so they'll tank will go quicker. So if we do ever have a pump house issue or the aqueduct issue, we really don't have a lot of water.
No.
We're only really for 2 days. We'd have to shut down Brooklyn Bottling with 0, and then we would be able to probably put about maybe 4 days.
Well, it wouldn't be good.
But as long as their consumption was down, we know that there's low pressure, because people that are above the tank aren't gonna have the pressure. Only 40 pounds of pressure comes out of the tank, so that's the
How
only.
long did it take to fix it? How long did it take?
It takes about 4 hours. We had the water turned off about 3.5, 4
What
hours.
was the temperature?
-10.
0.
It was like horrible. I don't know how you guys were out there in that, but That's when
You
it's not
assisted
free.
by the
The
highway
highway
department.
guys there.
The highway guy.
We're very fortunate. Thank you.
Thank you.
There was like,
Charlie, appreciate it. Colleen?
Town Clerk Monthly Report for December 2017, Conservation 1 for $2.59, dog licenses 9 for a total of $55, towing licenses 1 for $250, transfer station permits 7 for $390, punch cards 36 for $2,205, marriage licenses 2 for $35, building department fees 1 for $5,267, fire fees 1 for $440, Zumba 1 for $230, accident reports 19 for $95, certified copies 1 for $50, FOIA requests 1 for $3, jujitsu 1 for $90, for a grand total of $9,112.59.
Any questions for Colleen?
You have a cold.
I do have a cold.
Sorry to hear that. It's going around. Thank you.
get away, get away.
Okay, here we go. Report of the Marlborough wastewater treatment plant for December 2017. The average flow to the plant was 140,000 gallons per day. This was an average month and about 80% of the design capacity, which is 175,000 gallons per day. The process is working well, meeting Speedy's requirements. Lab results show that we removed 99% of BOD and 97% of suspended solids during the month. In the Milton wastewater treatment plant, the average flow to the Milton plant during December 2017 was 30,000 gallons per day. This is about 55% of design capacity, 55 gallons per day. Lab results show 99% of BOD and 87% of TSSL removal. The process is working well, meeting Speedy's requirement. Much work has been spent on controlling ice at the wastewater plant this winter, but we hear the next week will be like spring compared to last week. Overall, both wastewater treatment plants are in good working order. If you need any additional information, please do not hesitate to call Mr. Falco. Okay. He was dealing with a lot of ice down there, as you can imagine. So in the assessor's report, our office processed 21 real property sale transfers. We worked on 1 property tax estimates. The data collection project is completing the area of Old Indian, Ridge Road, and Latintown in Milton. Our data collector has decided to take a full-time position elsewhere. We are currently advertising for the position in the local paper, and a full disclosure of the position is located on the town website. The cutoff to apply for the position is Friday, January 12, 2018. All applications can be sent to the town clerk's office. We have received approximately 50% of the renewal exemption applications for the enhanced star exemption and the aged exemption. The filing deadline is March the 2nd, 2018. We are continuing to review our new construction and sales record for the 2018 assessment roll. I saw your email to Cindy, but they had it left already.
Yeah.
So far, I know that we got 1 application so far.
Mark the bartender.
Yeah. I think you have a short read here
Oh,
today.
wow, look at that.
Yeah, okay.
You gonna be okay, huh?
Yeah, 2 pages, okay. Planning Board review, December 2017, meeting of December 4th was canceled. Meeting on December 18th, attendees Chris Brandmany, Steve Clark, Cindy Lanzetta, Joel Farrow, Ben Trapani, and Joel Trincali. Agenda approval of stenographic minutes from 11/20/2017. The approval for the above minutes were approved. Board member Trincali abstained. On the agenda, first on the agenda was Grand Slam Auto, 1924 Route 9W Milton, public hearing site plan. Public hearing was opened and closed. Several questions regarding the project were addressed by the applicant. Negative declaration was issued. Approvals were not granted due to lack of response from Ulster County Planning. At this time, the applicant is scheduled to return. Second item, Little Brick House, 1435 Route 9W Marlborough, sketch and lot line. The applicant will address technical concerns and return for a public hearing in January 2018. Third item was the Marlborough District Route 9 LLC, 1100 Route 9W Marlborough, sketch and site plan. This is the project that Al talked about. The applicant returned with plans to build a large warehouse on the site. The planning board voted and approved notice of intent to act as lead agency for the environmental review of the project. The applicant will address several technical concerns and return at a later date. Next deadline is Friday, December 22nd, 2017. Next scheduled meeting is Tuesday, January 2nd, 2018. Respectfully submitted, Chris Brand, Chairman, Town of Marlborough Planning Board. That's it. Okay.
Thank you. A report of the committees, Recreation Committee, I know Scott and Alan are going to meet on the 11th.
Yep.
4 to 5 at the supervisor's office. You have anything else to?
No?
Okay. And our emergency management preparedness, we are updated with the reorg. Anything else, Al?
Nope.
Conservation Advisory Committee, we got to get that going with the design guidelines. IT Committee, we're going to meet also.
The 11th, same thing,
Yeah,
on 10 a.m., yep.
it's 2:30, right?
IT committee,
Yeah.
the Spectrum, we'll meet with Spectrum at
Oh,
10
10
a.m.
o'clock. Yeah, I got you. 10 to 11
That's
at the
that
town
one.
hall. Milton Train Station Foundation, of course, everything just went to campaign in sub-degree weather. Milton Landing Citizens Committee, I think we're going to meet also this coming Thursday, is it now?
For what? For Mountain Landing? Yeah, I
yeah.
might not be able to make that one, but the committee can make it.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's my birthday.
We rescheduled that because it was bad weather. Yeah, that's to discuss 5013C.
Yeah, I mean, you'll have Rosemary there, Gail will be there. It's my birthday, so I doubt I'm gonna.
Yeah, that's right, it's your birthday.
I'm not coming down there for that.
Come on, this is great. We'll have a little birthday cake for you.
I'm sure we'll have one at home too.
Howard, we met with Marlborough Hamlet Economic Development Committee, as I said, and they're setting up a meeting now with Milton and ourselves. I think we at the 25th.
25th at 7 p.m.
Yeah, 25th. I didn't put that
Joint
down.
meeting.
At the town hall.
Yep.
Okay,
Unless somebody else says something else. but-
right. Meet me in Marlborough. We're gonna tomorrow. They have something going on with the I Love New York at the barn. So we'll report on that. Hamlet and Milton Association Committee. I think they're invited to the Economic Development Committee, and so we're moving forward to that. Transfer Station Review Committee.
The people are in place?
Yep. Yep, we hired a new person. That's on the resolution.
You will? Yeah. Oh, we didn't resolve to do that yet? That's in the resolution, okay.
That's today.
Okay, good.
Well,
I think you started already, but
We
that's
already
okay.
gave you all ahead to say.
And old business, I haven't heard anything. Has anybody heard the sale of Tom Vac?
Yeah, it was sold.
The rumor out
say
there
that.
is that somebody's really interested.
Someone's very interested, I don't know who, but
Somebody, or Jerry was interested in it.
Milton Parking and Hamlet.
Supervisor, I have something on that.
Yes, Chief.
So this past snowstorm, we probably fielded, without exaggeration, 25 calls from the highway department, reference to vehicles parked on the road during the snow event. And we have rules that deal with that and stuff.
Right.
The highway department was delayed tremendously because some of these cars, they couldn't even drive around to continue up the street. So they were delayed. Of course, I only have 2 officers on during a day like this snow event, so it took time to handle every one of those complaints. This time, we managed to knock on doors to get people to move their cars. What I want to talk about is the fact that I'm not doing that next time. We spent a better part of a day doing that.
Is that mostly Marlboro?
Our routes, what's that?
Mostly Marlboro?
All of them were.
All of them?
Most of them are Marlboro, yeah.
On what street? Grand Street? Western
Church
Ave?
Street.
Grand Street, Church Street, Orange Street, Bloom Street, Highland Avenue,
Cars in the middle of the road?
Western Avenue, got a few calls from the county on, but that's not too bad. So my point of saying is, we do have rules in the books for it, it's ticket and tow, and we're gonna do that. It's a lot easier for me to rotate the tow trucks through and just start removing cars. Just understand people are going to complain, and when I tell them it's the rules, they're gonna come to you.
Do they know they can park in the Presbyterian Church?
I'm assuming we've been able to park there for years now, a couple of years.
Yeah.
More than a couple.
I'm assuming they know.
Oh, yes, we did
We
that
talked
for
about it
8
at the
years,
first
yeah.
We sent out all the
With
notes.
Mickey Simonowski.
Yeah.
Mickey Simonowski was
Yeah.
there, yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking they know, I don't know.
Were
But I
they
can
stuck
tell
in the
you
middle of the
they're
road, or
gonna
were they just parked on the side, or was it everything?
In the roads?
Were they stuck in the road, or were they parked?
No, they
No,
park in the
Church
road
Street,
'cause
they
can't
park.
get in their car. They
I
can't
go
get in
home
their
there.
driveways.
Okay, so you just,
So they park in the roads. And some people just leave them there.
It wasn't even that
There
bad a
were
storm.
few cars that literally blocked the entire road, nobody could get.
They don't have, Church Street, they don't have any driveways or anything like that, so I go up that way, it's always like that. And they're parked, they fill their driveway, and then they park the other one at the end of their driveway, but it's actually in the road as a parking space. So that, if all they have to do is bring it down to the Presbyterian Church, they'd be fine, but they don't do that.
they have
My
to walk,
point
it's
of
pretty cold.
discussing this is that we are not going to spend the time to bang on doors and try and find owners, and, because half the time they're not around anyway. So we're just going to ticket and tow.
Where would you tell them to? That,
It'll be off a rotation list.
Rotation.
Off the rotation.
So it could be any one of the
Anywhere.
8
Whoever's
companies
on
on the list. And they're gonna pay the snow fee according to the tow load.
According to the,
Right, the
Yeah.
schedule.
yeah.
And,
Fee schedule.
there will be complaints, and they're not gonna like my answers, I'm sure. That's why I'm suggesting they're gonna come to you and just be ready. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but we can't do that again. Gail's guys were frustrated, John Alonji was very frustrated, because they would call him, he has to stop what he's doing to get a hold of us. The phones are ringing off the wall, so we're not there to go immediately, it was just a problem. So we're gonna address it, and they're gonna learn the hard way, I suppose.
You know, I think we could address it a couple of ways, first of all. So this way, nobody's surprised. I know a lot of people don't use our website, but we're gonna put it on the website. Well, maybe we'll do the same thing with the sidewalks. And maybe a editorial or something out to the paper from the board saying, you know, we need your help. This is what we have to do.
Yeah, anything would help.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and I'm sure Mark Reynolds wouldn't mind doing something like that.
see, the problem is,
And then, then if you have to do it, then you did it, and we did our due diligence, we let them know.
Should we send letters to all the houses?
Oh, we did.
I mean, I know we did that, but
What are you gonna do, blanket mail the 8,800 citizens of the town of Marlborough?
No, I know.
just in the hamlet,
Done.
I'll tell you, the biggest problem is the roads are small enough to begin with in Hamlin and Marlboro, so once you put one car on there, you can only go past it. You can't, I live on a dead-end street, Hudson Terrace, you can't do 2 cars anytime, whether it snows or not. So the roads are very small, they wouldn't be adopted as roads right now with our laws the way they are, so that's the biggest problem. One car could really cause, poor guy that's trying to plow, can't even do church.
Yeah, but we can notify people through those 2 medias, and then, and I'll do something on my Facebook.
I got 8 parking spaces in my driveway on Hudson Terrace.
Okay. LWRP, we're moving along with that. We haven't heard anything from the state. And the Route 9W corridor study is ongoing, still going.
Should be something pretty soon, final
Yeah.
report.
you should have that right now, right?
Yeah,
I would say this month, yeah.
yeah.
I know the holidays probably.
Any new business, gentlemen?
I'm good.
Good.
Correspondence, I have a few correspondence, probably somebody
They want the cars.
leaving. So, I want to make sure that, too bad Mark wasn't here, but I'll put this on the website too. It's about the Hours of Fuel Emergency Program. I got a call from dispatcher, Rapoli, telling me that somebody was out of heat or going out of heat. I found out, I spent like 2 hours on the phone. From last time I was supervisor, it was easy. I called Mr. Fusil up, he'd go with 5-gallon can. People that have providers, other providers don't want to put in their tank. So it's a whole new ballgame, you know. This individual is running out of LP gas. And I tried to get a hold of the provider, I couldn't get a hold of him, and eventually talked to Mr. Porco, and Mr. Porco explained to me, you know, how things have changed over the years, that people really, you know, he regrets it, but he really can't do anything about it. And he was very pleasant and very helpful. So there is a way of calling, it's after-hours fuel service, and there's a number here, and I'll make sure, Colleen, that I give it to Danielle to put it on the,
website,
so I don't know what their procedure is, but,
Is that a
and it was like 10 degrees below zero, and this woman
number?
actually had, she was at the trailer park.
No, the number.
Yeah,
calls
it's
Ulster County?
845-334-2025.
I thought it was handled through the county now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so.
So the thing is, the procedure is, they call the county calls the local person up. The local person is the supervisor who's supposed to get heat, but there's no way I could do anything if, unless I physically went out there with a barbecue tank and hooked it up. Eventually, she had her nephew do it, so. But, you know, it's like 2 hours on the phone. I felt sorry for the lady, but, and plus she had some medical issues too, because of the cold air and stuff like that.
Of course.
She's on oxygen and stuff like that, so just want to make sure.
So are we supposed to have something set up since it comes back to you?
Well, the county really has
Then it
something
comes
set
back
up.
to us.
But it sounds like they take the call, but then they write it down.
Yeah, they
to you.
wrap it back to me.
And we have no idea that we're supposed to do something, so.
No, and, you know,
Or
and
they
like I
have-
said, the things have
Doesn't make
changed
sense.
where
Like a wraparound.
in the past, you know, we could send Mr. Fuso out. He would graciously go out with 5 gallons of fuel oil, and Mr. Porco would go in and
Yeah.
cap it, and we would, you know.
So what's the issue now is if they're not the sole, the provider, they're not allowed to hook in? or do
Yeah,
anything?
It's
and
not their
another
tank.
provider won't go in and hook into another
Because
provider's
they're
tank.
liable for
It's
something?
not their tank, so I
And
think
of
when
course,
they,
they're all concerned about who's gonna pay, because you know,
Yeah.
the person that's out of fuel, obviously.
Beer's out for a
fuel, they
reason.
can't pay.
Yeah, and the issue was with this individual, I says, is it a payment problem, or, you know, she said, no. They
Then that
actually called 3-4 days prior and got an emergency fill-up, but only a certain amount of gallons, and they charge them $150 to come out there, plus charge them per gallon.
It was this very cold weather, I was told by a couple of local fuel oil companies, is a 10-day wait. So if you wait till you're almost out and you've got maybe 2 days of fuel left, you're done, because they can't get to it. Well, maybe now that's gonna warm up, but they
it's gonna
couldn't
warm
get
up,
you.
so it'll
Yeah,
catch
but
up.
I mean, this is their procedure. I mean, to me, it's
Yeah, I mean,
ludicrous
it's-
to come out there
Yeah.
for $150 and charge them, you know, for 20 gallons, right? That's only gonna last them, and then they come out
Right.
4 days later, but this individual said they never came back.
I
She
filled
kept
up.
on calling,
I filled up.
anyhow.
Oh, you dropped in, like a flap of paper.
But
I'll put it on the
I gotta get
website,
one
see if we could do anything.
I gotta be start getting a little bit.
Just briefly, tomorrow, January 9th, is Take the Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. The Law Enforcement Appreciation Day, and that's done by the legislator, Mary Beth Mayo. And, you know, see an officer, thank him.
They want you to wear blue
Yeah,
I saw
to
that.
signify support.
yeah.
He's trying to get the whole county to wear blue. So, wear blue tomorrow,
I'll wear my cowboy shirt.
blue on blue.
Giant shirt, very nice.
I think that's a great
Giant
thing
shirt.
from the county.
Big blue, we'll wear a giant shirt, oh God.
So, and then we have something from Andrus Aristine? Is that?
Arrested.
Arrested.
Andres arrested.
Dear Chief Kokoza, it says me to write this letter. I have enjoyed working with my fellow officers here at Marlborough Police Department, and have enjoyed working with my
Perfect name for a policeman.
immediate supervisors, but unfortunately, our governor will not raise the pay rate that a retired part-time officer can make, and I'm limited to $30,000 a year between the town of Montgomery Police Department and the Marlborough Police Department. I would go over my limits, so at this time I'm resigning from the Marlborough PD. Again, it breaks my heart to have to write this letter, but I have no choice. I wish nothing but good health to all the men and women of this department, and I have been truly blessed to have worked with them. Again, good luck to all, and may God bless you all. Respectfully, yours. So, so he's a part-time
Yeah.
Correct.
police
What
officer?
happened, he was a full-time city of Newburgh, and he pulled his pension, he retired.
Retired.
This was his first year of retirement, and he came off our calendars in October, because it was already over by then. And once you pull a retirement from the police and fire retirement system, you're limited about how much you can earn from a state or municipal job, even a county job. There's a whole bunch of job titles, and that's 30,000. And with the money he was making in Montgomery, plus what we pay, he burned that up right away. So they penalized him. I think he told me he was $2,400 over. He could be looking at $20,000 to pay back. When the retirement hits you hard like that, they really hit you hard. Kurt Fulton had a very similar problem. It's done with now. He aged out.
30 grand.
That's his problem, so he had no choice.
Okay. So I need a motion to accept this resignation.
I'll make the motion.
Need a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion?
I'm opposed to
None.
it.
So passed.
There, you're gonna have to get like a ditto copy or something like that, and just have them sign their names at the bottom.
right.
Every
Spell
meeting
out
we
your
have.
name. I was thinking the
Yeah.
same thing.
Every meeting we're getting one now.
Which means they need to hire.
It's unfortunate, but
So we have somebody that wants permission to use the soccer field. You were good with all this?
Except for
Spring
the-
recreation youth soccer program?
Yes, except for the one that he wanted in the summer, which, for the
Yeah, the summer camp is
yeah,
July
we-
16, 20.
We're gonna tell him that that isn't
Yeah,
possible,
cannot
because
have
our
it
own
on
camp
those
goes
days.
on at that time. All the other dates are fine with us.
doesn't
Now-
affect Ralph's,
No, it won't affect
Senior
Ralph's
picnic,
senior
right?
picnic either.
So,
Yeah.
do you know Rick Cornfield?
Rick Cornfield?
He just took it over last
I
year.
never,
He just took it over last year,
I wonder if he took
Soccer.
over from
Brendan.
Brendan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They took over for Brendan?
Well, he helps out Brendan. Brendan didn't go away totally. Rick is the new person that's corresponding with us now.
Any public comments? Thank you, Colleen. Yes, James.
I want to make a suggestion with regard to the reorganization papers. I think it would be helpful if at the very beginning you said, would write down an asterisk indicates a change from the prior year, and then just put an asterisk through both the fees and who's on the committees, et cetera, as to whether there was a change or not, whether there was a change.
Gotcha.
The second thing I'd like to say is with regard to clearing the streets. Keeping the streets open is really a public safety issue, and I think that's important to point out to people that if they are blocking the street, then they could be preventing somebody's house from getting burnt to a crisp, and other things, that those streets need to be kept open. So I think that that's a very important thing. I think that's also important for the sidewalks. I have complained in prior years to the school district about the sidewalks at the elementary school, and I don't know about this year, but last year they did a very good job of keeping their sidewalks clear. So they're doing a good job of that. People across the street, on the other side, on the west side where Bayside is,
Crossing the gas station.
they're,
Crossing the gas station you're talking about?
Yeah.
Sidewalks?
no,
front of the middle school,
directly across from the traffic light where Bayside is.
Gotcha.
Their property,
Yeah,
They're not-
all the
they're
way
not doing
down
anything.
to Western Avenue, that's pretty sad.
and, one of the problems
west
with,
side.
some municipalities do it, Kirs Joel, 50% of their people work in the village. They have a very important responsibility to keep their sidewalks open. They do their own sidewalks. One of the problems with doing that is if you're doing the sidewalks, then you may end up with some legal responsibilities if they're not done and somebody slips and falls. So you want to be real careful about how that's done. If you have somebody paid to come out, yes, you can pay them on an hourly basis. Does that include their time to get there and to do, one house? Or does that just the time to do in front of that house? I have seen clearing snow done based on linear footage, how,
Right.
you pay based on the number of feet or 100 feet in front of your house. But one of the other factors is how much snow is there. It's a big difference if you get a 4-foot snowfall and an inch snowfall. So when I was in a condominium complex, the way they paid for it was based on the inches of the snowfall. If it got to a certain point, then there was a premium of cost, because you can't just come in there and easily shovel or snow blow it. So you want to think, do you want to do it on an hourly basis, square footage basis? What basis do you want to do it, and how is that charged? Because again, if they're coming from Poughkeepsie and they're spending a half an hour to get here and a half an hour to go back, and they're charging you another hour
Right, I
on
got
top
it.
of shoveling, that can be an additional cost. But I think you should weigh very carefully
I
if
got
the
it.
municipality wants to get involved in something
Discussion on it.
like
Let's
this.
Decided talking about this.
Yeah,
Yes,
this
thank you for bringing it.
this is something that, I think you do need to talk about, and I'm glad to hear that you're going to talk about it. But those are some of the issues that I think you should consider the liability of clearing them. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, James.
Thanks, James.
Anybody else, public comment? So let's go to the resolutions. Resolution 27, to appoint part-time transfer station attendant. Supervisor Lanzetta proposes the following. Whereas the town of Marlborough has advertised for applications for the job of transfer station attendant at the landfill transfer station at Bailey's Gap, and whereas 2 candidates for the position responded and were duly interviewed. Be resolved that Jeffrey Bloom is appointed as the part-time transfer station attendant, effective immediately, and moves for his adoption.
Councilman Corcoran?
Didn't we have John as a alternate?
Yeah, we were talking about having John as an alternate, right?
Yeah, but I think it was like, I thought it was, yeah, you were gonna talk to him and.
I did, I told him that.
Yeah, so we
So-
just call him in as an alternate.
Yeah, we could,
I don't think
John
we
Olson.
needed a.
Do we need to have it on here that he's an alternate?
I don't know what the
From a
protocol is.
legality perspective, he's on at our town transfer station without being
John,
appointed?
John had an issue with Sundays.
We could do it.
We could amend it,
Yeah, I think we should
Let's-
amend
I
it to
think we
have
should
John
just
on
amend it to
here.
have him as an alternate, that's all. Just
and
that-
so whereas 2 candidates for the position resolve that Jeffrey Bloom is appointed as part-time transportation and John
Halsted
Halsted
was appointed as alternate.
as an alternate.
Yep. That's a good,
I need a motion to amend the resolution 27.
I'll make that motion.
Or somebody,
I need a second.
sorry.
All in favor?
All right.
So moved. Now, we could continue with the adoption of the resolution.
Councilman Corcoran?
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli?
Yes.
Councilman Koenig?
Yes.
Councilman Baker?
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta?
Yes, there was some kind of dialogue, but maybe I misunderstood it.
What was that?
About John, I thought just calling up, but I think you're
I
correct.
mean,
It has to be on the record.
Put it in the record and
Just to
it's
make it
fine.
on the record.
We have to get his tax.
So Resolution 28 is a lengthy one to support the immediate state agency rulemaking for tankers. And we went through this whole thing. We've supported people that are against it, and I think we're in favor of this. And it's a resolve that the supervisor of the town of Marlborough, New York, be hereby authorized and directed to send a copy of this resolution to the Honorable Andrew Cuomo, Governor of New York State. yada yada, Department of Environmental. So it's all about Frank Scartanos, Autumn Assembly, and Frank Scartanos and other person, the town supervisor in his direction. Discretion may deem proper in order to effectuate the purpose of this resolution. So that's what it's all about.
Okay.
And moves for its adoption.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Supervisor Lanzetta.
Yes. And the resolution, excuse me?
It's even longer.
Yeah, I'm not reading. Resolution number 29 to introduce a local law of the year 2018, amend Chapter 137, exemptions for Cold War veterans, to exercise the option to incorporate amendments to real property tax law 458-B by the state legislature with respect to the extension of the duration of the exemption benefits. So this just makes it so it continues, because it expired.
So who wants to be the second in council? That has to be in there, right?
I'm the oldest, I'll do it. I think Eddie should do it.
Eddie, come on.
Provided second by Councilman Malinelli.
There's two of them.
There's
He's
two
got to be,
pages.
And,
There's another one on the other
yep,
page.
and Councilman Corcoran.
There you go.
I brought it up and I get no,
You get credit for bringing it up.
Okay.
So we have to set up a public hearing. First of all, so take notice that the Town Board of Town of Marlborough will hold a public hearing at the Town Hall, 21 Milton Turnpike, Milton, New York, on January 22nd, 2018, at 7:00 p.m. on local law. I think this would be number one.
I hope so.
I hope
It's our
so.
first meeting.
Of the year of 2018, amend Article 3 of Chapter 137 of the Town Code, exemption for Cold War veterans, to exercise the option to incorporate amendments to the real property tax law 458-B by the state legislature with respect to the extension of duration exemption benefits. Take further notice that copies of the aforesaid proposed local law will be available for examination at the office of the clerk of the town of Marlborough at the Town Hall, 21 Milton Turnpike, Milton, New York, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m., and on all business days between the date of this notice and the date of the public hearing. Take further notice that all persons interested and citizens shall have an opportunity to be heard on said proposal at the time and place after said. And the foregoing resolution was voted upon with all councilmen voting as follows.
Supervisor Lanzetta,
Yes.
Councilman Malinelli,
Yes.
Councilman Corcoran,
Yes.
Councilman Baker,
Yes.
Councilman Koenig.
yes.
Now, don't all
Not going
jump.
Holding my papers.
Jumping.
I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll
Need a
second
second?
it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Discussion? None being